Hello and welcome. Tonight, we embark on a truly magnificent journey, not through some dreary windswept country, but through time itself. Strap in. We're blasting through a century of automotive genius, obsession, lunacy. The mission? Find the one car from each decade. Starting with the roaring 20s and ending in the slightly less roaring but digitally obsessed 2010 S-Right, the 1920s, the Jazz Age, a time of flapper dresses, questionable cocktails, and an explosion of wealth, particularly in America. You bought a Duesenberg, specifically the Model J. This wasn't just a car, it was a declaration, bigger, grander, more powerful than anything else on the road. The Model J could thunder to a top speed of 119 miles per hour. 119. As the world plunged into the Great Depression, you might think the quest for speed would take a back seat. You would be wrong. While America was tightening its belt, the French were creating art. And the fastest piece of art you could buy was the Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlantic. Honestly, just look at it. It's less a car and more a rolling sculpture. Jean Bugatti, son of the founder Ettore, designed this thing, and it is arguably one of the most beautiful objects ever created by mankind, full stop. But this was no mere ornament for a Parisian boulevard. This was a weapon. The result was a top speed of over 125 miles per hour. It didn't just beat the Duesenberg, it did so with elegance and aerodynamic sophistication light years ahead of its time. Only 4 of these were ever made, and today they are among the most valuable cars on the planet, each worth more than a small country's GDP. Driving one must have been a terrifying and exhilarating experience. It was a teardrop-shaped bullet, a masterpiece of Art Deco design that could outrun almost anything else on the road. The Type 57 SC Atlantic wasn't just the fastest car of the 1930s. It was proof that even in the darkest of times, human ingenuity and the pursuit of beautiful speed could not be stopped. The 1940s, a decade defined almost entirely by war. Factories that once built beautiful cars were churning out tanks and Spitfires. As you can imagine, high-speed motoring wasn't exactly a priority. But then, as the dust settled and the world began to rebuild, a shell-shocked Britain needed a hero. And it got one. Not in the form of a politician, but in the form of a car. In 1948, at the London Motor Show, Jaguar unveiled the XK 120, and the world's collective jaw hit the floor. It was stunning. A vision of flowing, curvaceous lines that seemed to have been shaped by the wind itself. But the name held the real promise. 120. Jaguar claimed it could do 120 miles per hour. Now, this was a bold, almost preposterous claim for a post-war production car. So to prove it, they took a production model to a closed stretch of motorway in Belgium, removed the windscreen, and it hit 132 miles per hour. Suddenly, the Jaguar XK 120 wasn't just a pretty face. It was officially the fastest production car in the world. The 1950s arrived, rock and roll, an economic boom, a brand new sense of optimism. In the world of cars, things were about to get serious. Nobody was more serious than the Germans. Mercedes-Benz needed to make a statement. And what a statement it was. The 300 SL, known, of course, as the Gullwing. Those doors weren't just for show. The car's innovative space-frame chassis ran high along the sides, making normal doors impossible. It was pure engineering dictating breathtaking style. This car was a direct descendant of Mercedes' all-conquering W194 racing car. It wasn't just inspired by motorsport, it was essentially a race car for the road, complete with the world's first ever fuel-injected engine in a production car. That 3.0-litre straight-six was tilted on its side to fit under the low bonnet, and it produced a mighty 215 horsepower. This allowed the sleek, aerodynamic Gullwing to slice through the air and reach a top speed of up to 163 miles per hour. The 1960s, a decade of revolution, music, fashion, culture. Everything was turned on its head. In a quiet corner of Italy, Ferruccio Lamborghini, a tractor maker, decided to start a revolution. Annoyed by the quality of his Ferrari, he thought he could do better. His first cars were fine. But then, in 1966, he unleashed a car so radical, so beautiful, so utterly groundbreaking it changed the world. He unleashed the Miura. This was it, the birth of the supercar. The template everyone would copy for decades. The Miura was the first production road car with a mid-mounted engine, a V12, mounted transversely right behind the driver's head. It hit 171 miles per hour, the fastest production car on the planet. A direct shot across Enzo Ferrari's bow. The Miura wasn't just the fastest of the 60s, it was a paradigm shift. If the Miura was a revolution, the car that followed it was, well, an alien invasion. Welcome to the 1970s, a decade of oil crises, disco, and outrageous wedge-shaped designs. And nothing, absolutely nothing, was more outrageous than the Lamborghini Countach. When the prototype first appeared in 1971, it looked like a doorstop from the future. It was so low, so wide, and so angular that it barely looked like a car at all. It was another masterpiece from Marcello Gandini, who clearly had decided that curves were for wimps. The Countach took the Miura's mid-engine layout and turned it up to 11. The V12 was now mounted longitudinally, and it was paired with those now legendary scissor doors, which weren't just for show. They were necessary because the car was so wide you couldn't open conventional doors in a normal parking space. The early LP 400 Periscopio models, with their clean, unadorned lines, are considered the purest form. That 4.0-litre V12 gave it a top speed of around 179 miles per hour, snatching the world's fastest crown once again for Lamborghini. Throughout the 70s and the 80s, the Countach evolved, sprouting massive wings, fender flares, and air intakes, becoming the definitive poster car for a generation. It was impractical, impossible to see out of, and an absolute pig to drive in town. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the raw, visceral thrill and the sheer, unapologetic lunacy of it. The 1980s, a decade of big hair, big shoulder pads, and, well, big horsepower. The supercar war was in full swing. Lamborghini's Countach, Porsche's 959, and then, in 1987, Enzo Ferrari, as his final act. Decided to show them all how it was done. He created a car that was the complete antithesis of the tech-heavy 959. It had no four-wheel drive, no adjustable suspension, and definitely no luxury. It had only one purpose: to be the fastest, most exhilarating driving machine on Earth. It was the Ferrari F40. The F40 was, in essence, a racing car barely civilized for the road. The body was made from carbon fiber, Kevlar, and aluminum, making it incredibly light. You could even see the weave of the carbon fiber on the inside of the doors. It had plastic windows, and honestly, just a piece of string for a door handle to save weight. There was no radio, no carpets, and no glove box, just 2 bucket seats, a steering wheel, and 3 pedals. And behind you, the clear Lexan engine cover revealing the twin-turbo V8, a 2.9-litre twin-turbocharged V8, producing 478 horsepower. The result, a top speed of 201 miles per hour. It was the first production car to officially break the 200 miles per hour barrier. It was Enzo's final, defiant statement to the world. And it was, without a shadow of a doubt, the fastest car of the 1980s. After the raw brutality of the F40, where could we possibly go next? The 1990s provided the answer, and it came not from Italy or Germany, but from Woking, England. It came from the mind of one man, Professor Gordon Murray. The legendary Formula One designer decided to build his vision of the ultimate road car. He didn't have a budget, he just had a singular goal of perfection. The result was the McLaren F1. A car so far ahead of its time, it's still considered by many to be the greatest supercar ever made. Everything about the F1 was obsessive. The central driving position, with a passenger seat on either side, for perfect weight distribution and an unparalleled view. The engine bay, lined with gold foil because it's the best heat reflector. The bespoke, naturally aspirated 6.1-litre V12 engine from BMW, producing a colossal 627 horsepower. There were no turbos, no superchargers, just pure, unadulterated atmospheric power. It was an engineering tour de force, a symphony of carbon fiber, titanium, and magnesium. And the speed, oh, the speed. In 1998, with the rev limiter removed, racing driver Andy Wallace took a McLaren F1 prototype to the Aerolesian test track in Germany and hit 240.1 miles per hour. 240. It didn't just break the previous record, it obliterated it. It set a new benchmark that would stand for nearly a decade. The McLaren F1 wasn't just a car, it was a watershed moment in automotive history. The McLaren F1's record seemed insurmountable. For years, nothing could touch it. The automotive world was waiting for its next Concorde moment, and it came from the most unlikely of places. The Volkswagen Group. Having bought the historic Bugatti brand, the chairman, Ferdinand Peach, issued a set of demands that seemed utterly impossible. The car had to have over 1,000 horsepower, go faster than 400 kilometers per hour, 248.5 miles per hour, and still be usable enough to drive to the opera. The engineers thought he was mad. The result of this madness was the Bugatti Veyron 16.4. It was a car of mind-boggling statistics. An 8-litre quad-turbocharged W16 engine producing 1,001 metric horsepower, 10 radiators to keep the whole thing from melting, a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox that could shift gears faster than you can blink, and a special top-speed key that, when inserted, would lower the car, retract the rear wing, and prepare it for an assault on the laws of physics. It was more of a ground-based jet than a car. In 2005, the Veyron did exactly what Peach had demanded. It went to the same era Lessian track and officially recorded a top speed of 253.81 miles per hour. It had done it. It had broken the McLaren's record and ushered in the new age of the hypercar. So you're Bugatti. You've built the Veyron, the undisputed king of speed. What do you do for an encore?